Hello, everyone. It's Lesley Timbol here from Mental Iron. Welcome to my channel. I do apologize for being a few minutes late. My Amazon Fresh order came closer to the wire just before I wanted to start my podcast, so I had to put my groceries away. So I appreciate you bearing with me. Okay, so the topic for today, well, last week was basically how to fire your coach. And now it's going to be for coaches, how to fire your athletes. So it does go both ways. So once again, guys, my topic is how to fire your athlete. If you're a coach, you're an instructor of some sort, but if you do have other questions, just feel free to put them in the chat box. So one might think, well, the idea of a coach is you want to help people. So I'm going to speak specifically in sports. I'll probably once again speak a bit more into bodybuilding, but this can be any type of coach. Any kind of coach goes into the business because they care about people and they want to help people develop in that sport. And, sometimes you get athletes who it's not that they're not, they don't necessarily have to be successful in respect of, let's say, winning first place or being in first call all the time. That's not what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about athletes who end up thinking that they know best. Now, it's one thing to say, hey, coach, I have a different perspective, or based on my past history, I find that, my experience has shown me that if I eat too many carbs, I spill over, as an example. Or if I do too much cardio, I end up losing size in my legs, or again, whatever it might be. Those are not the types of conversations I'm talking about. I think it is important to have proper communication between coach and athlete. So it does go both ways. But what I'm talking about today are athletes that, whether they see stuff on the internet, maybe they've worked with their own coaches, maybe they found from their own experience that they, and I'm putting this in air quotations, know better. And the idea is when you go with a coach, you need to be open-minded, have conversations. If you need clarification from your coach about why your coach is asking you to do something, whether it be more cardio, maybe it's whether it's adding carbs, taking away carbs, whatever it might be, you can have that conversation. But what I'm talking about is time and time again that the athlete is not being receptive to what the coach is saying. Now, remember, as a coach, it's important to keep open-minded. And as coaches, we know that it's not a one-size-fits-all. This is not a cookie-cutter approach. And if you have a coach, let me go back to last week, that is doing too much of a cookie-cutter program for you that can apply to basically everyone. And I'm not talking about getting your macronutrients on properly, but something specific for you, that may not be the coach for you. Now, you can bring it up to your coach's attention, but for coaches, this is what I'm focusing on, or for coaches who have athletes who repeatedly either, let's say, they don't communicate, they don't tell their coach that they're going off plan. In fact, the coach finds out that they're going off plan when they happen to look on their social media, let's say it's an Instagram account, and they see, now let's assume that this athlete's in prep for a bodybuilding competition and they're not supposed to be cheating on their diet. And yet on Instagram, they're posting about going out with some friends and they're showing pictures of their meal, which is not according to their diet. And this is how the coach is finding out. So when the coach asks in their check-ins, how has the past week been? And that athlete is continuously lying, not telling the coach what's going on. Well, as a coach, they can't properly advise you what to change. All they know is that they're assuming that you're sticking to the plan, whether it be training, eating, whatever that might be. And if it's not working, then they can make fine adjustments, because everybody is going to be a little bit different. And there's going to be changes and there's going to be plateaus. And coaches are trained to change certain variables, not too many. In fact, if you do one variable at a time, it's easier to find out what the issue is so it can be corrected. But if an athlete is doing their own thing, and especially not communicating that to their coach is not going to be able to advise them properly. So they're not going to be able to get the results that they should be getting. So that could be a reason. And again, I'm not saying the first time. Have a conversation with your athlete saying, look, I can't properly advise you if you keep doing this. At least if you're doing this, let me know. And if you're doing this constantly, I don't know if I'm the right coach for you, because you're not following if you're paying me to trust my judgment because you didn't place where you wanted to, you might need to be open to a different approach. Now, if you find that there's another approach that might work better, let me know, and I respect that. So this is the thing. It's important for coaches to be able to let go of athletes when the athlete isn't doing their part too. Oh, hey, Kevin, how you doing? I'm just noticing people in the chat. Hey, dude, how are you? Non-cookie cutter. Agreed. It's really important because, again, you're paying money. You work really hard for your money, and we all know that the dollar doesn't go very far. So, I mean, when you're investing money into a coach, you want to get their expertise. That's why you're hiring them. If they didn't know what they were doing, then don't waste your money on that. That's not, you can just do it yourself if that's going to be the case. But a lot of people, especially when we're coming to, let's say, again, I'm going to pick on bodybuilding, but this could be with any sport. When you get closer to your competition day, it's not to say you can't know your body, but a lot of times it's nice to have another set of eyes to watch you. And a lot of times what happens with the pressure of, let's say, the day before the show or even show day, we second guess ourselves. So that's why it's nice to have another trained eye to be able to say, here's, have maybe 50 more grams of carbs, or don't do carbs and just have water, or whatever the protocol might be, to get you looking as full as possible and versus flat, and being able to show your best on stage. Because you put on like months and months of work, not just in the gym, but out of the gym, from an eating standpoint, trying to rest, if you need to do your physiotherapy or any type of massage, whatever work you need to do. This is not like a week you prep and then you go on stage. No, like unless you just did a show, this is months and months of work. So you want to be able to rely on that person's expertise. And it's really hard to trust someone. So let's say this is your first time with a coach. Keep in mind, you have to give that coach some time to get to know your body. You cannot expect to go to your coach or go to a coach that you just hired and expect them to be able to nail it the first try. It's important for them. And as I was saying last week, give your coach time in your off season, not just when you're in prep, because in your off season, then you have more time to play with. And then you can, as you diet down, when you go into prep, you can do what we call mock prep. So a mock prep is pretending and gearing you up to see what you're going to look like, to follow exactly what you would before a competition, let's say about 3 weeks before. So if it doesn't go well and you end up spilling over, then okay, maybe we need to cut the carbs. Maybe we need to put more water. Maybe we need to take out water. And they can do some fine tuning. The longer time you can give your coach, the better your results going to be. And keep in mind, let's say you had a coach that was able to help you come in the best shape possible. Even if you follow exactly the same thing as far as how you prepared yourselves and how you peaked, it doesn't mean it's going to work for the next show. But again, that trained eye, if you learn how to trust that person, assuming they're competent, then follow what they're doing. You can have doubts. You can express your doubts to your coach. But for coaches, if you have athletes who repeatedly, again, I'm not talking about a 1 or 2 time thing, goes off plan, isn't honest with you, is not following what you're doing, let's say they might, and it's one thing to say, hey, coach, I have a bit of an injury in my shoulder, so there's certain exercises I can't do. Okay. Any good coach will be able to say, hey, let's alternate something else that's not going to be as painful for your shoulder. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that, but have that communication. Don't just go rogue. When I say rogue, I mean do your own thing without checking with your coach, because there might be a reason why they may want you to do that exercise, maybe lighten the weight, or they might be able to give you an alternative that's better because they're targeting your weak areas to give you that complete package, to give you that balance, that symmetry, which is what you're going to be judged on in stage. It's not just lean muscle tissue, it's how it's presented. So that's really important to keep in mind. Now, another reason why a coach may want to fire their athlete, and again, this is not just the first time, we're talking about a pattern, is if they're not checking in. If there's an agreement at the very beginning to say, from a coach to say to the athlete, I want you to check in once a week, send him your pictures, your progress pictures, and maybe answer a few questions. And they'll have a list of questions they want you to answer, such as, how's your sleep been? Has there been any kind of extra stress, whether it's like family, whether it's work, anything that could be interfering with your performance or your abilities to, as far as your weight or your appearance. So that will be check-ins. Now, if all of a sudden your athlete's dropped off and hasn't gotten back to you, and they were supposed to, let's say you were supposed to check in every Sunday. I'm just making that day up. It could be any day of the week. And it's once a week initially. As you get close to the show, it should be more than that. If your athlete's not checking in once a week, there could be an exception. Life happens. Extreme things can happen. Maybe someone passed away. I understand that. Coaches will understand that. But if this is happening over and over and over again, check with your athlete. What's going on? As far as their possible reasons. Could it be that they are cheating on their diet and they don't want you to see the pictures? Is it something is happening in their home life? Okay, keep that into mind. But if it's a matter of, I don't want you to see what I look like because I'm cheating on my diet, and this is happening over and over again, and you're trying to give them strategies or address, what's contributing to their going off plan, and they're not able to get that intact, you may need to let them go. Or you might say, hey, look, maybe you're not in the right headspace right now to do a show. Do you want to take some more time, go into a bit of a break, into a bit of an off season, and then we can get you geared up when you're mentally in a better headspace? That's fine too. So sometimes breaking up or firing your athletes, not necessarily forever. It might be a short period of time, or it might be transitioning from being in prep to being, let's say, in your off season, but still having a little bit of accountability. Now, another reason, as far as, apart from the lack of communication, the lying, maybe not checking in when they're supposed to be checking in, sometimes, okay, now I was talking about bodybuilding, but let's say in a team, if you're in a team sport, so you're coaching, let's say, a team of, I don't know, soccer players, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the sport, but you're coaching a team. If you've got one person that's not carrying their weight of whatever their role is in that sport, that can have an adverse effect, a negative effect on the teammates. Because what they're doing, because keep in mind, everyone is playing a role in the team to be able to provide the best strategy possible to get the number of goals or points or whatever, again, depending on the game, to win the game. You have to act as a team. So if there's a member that's continuously, and again, we all have our off days. I'm not talking about the off day, but repeatedly, let's say, showing up to practices late, not even coming out or even showing up on game day late, or disheveled, or they smell like alcohol, or there's other kinds of things. I'm not talking about life stresses per se, but I'm talking about being irresponsible, not taking accountability, and not doing your part in that team. That's not fair to the teammates, and it can hurt their morale, and then they can go into a game knowing they can't trust their teammate to be able to do their best on the field or on the rink or whatever, again, depending on the sport. So as a coach, you try to give some strategies, but if it's not working, especially for the sake of the team, do not let that athlete bring the team down. There's a point where you give people chances, yes, but if they don't come back from it or aren't able or aren't ready, and again, it may not be necessarily forever, but at that moment in time, you may need to pull that teammate out. Because again, it's only going to bring the rest of the team down, knowing that behavior is being tolerated. And if anything, when something, let's even look at kids. If you look at kids and they keep doing the same thing over and over again, and you're saying, hey, that's not good behavior, stop fighting, with your sister or whatever, if you have siblings. If it's the kind of laugh about it and then, they continue on, we call that in therapy enabling. Enabling means we don't like what you're doing, but we're not going to give you any consequences. Similarly, as a coach in a team environment, there has to be consequences. It's not fair to the rest of the team. And it also shows what kind of leader you are, that you can't follow through. You have to do what's in the best interest of your team. Now, I'm not saying you can't be helpful or give strategies or have some one-on-one talks with your athlete. Again, when I'm saying for coaches, as far as firing an athlete or letting them go, it's being able to say, look, you put some effort in, but they have to take some effort too. They need to take some accountability. They're not taking accountability for whatever reason. And maybe they're going through a bad time. They're going through some struggles, and this may not be a good time for them to be in the sport at this time. You need to let them go. To say, and you can say, hey, when you get this cleaned up, or when you're able to address, let's say it's an addiction, you can't be showing up to games intoxicated. It doesn't matter the sport. And if they keep doing that, there has to be that consequence to say, look, we can get you into some type of rehab or program or, some help, but you have to do the work. And in the meantime, until you can prove that you can be sober, as an example, you can't play on our team. You're going to be a hindrance. You're going to bring us down. And any athlete, see, one of the number one issues when I speak with athletes that are part of a team, one of their biggest fears is they do not want to let their teammates down. So if a team member is saying, well, that's their problem and not mine, that's the athlete. You need to turf their butts. Okay, so I'm just kind of giving you guys some examples of some scenarios where coaches do need to fire the athlete, whether it's individually, whether it's an individual sport or a team sport. Hey, Alaric, how are you doing? Nice to see you. So guys, if you have questions regarding coaches, whether you're a coach, or even if you want to backtrack to last week, if you're the athlete, so whether you're the athlete or the coach and you're wondering whether or not to fire the other, put it in the comments, let me know the circumstances, and let's talk about it. Now, if you guys want to talk about something else, like I said, we can absolutely do that. I mean, the Arnold's is coming up in what is it, 4 weeks now? Is it 4 weeks? I think it was just 4 weeks. Is it really 4 weeks? Wow. So the Arnold is coming up, or if you want to talk about anything else that's going on in the bodybuilding industry, absolutely. I was watching, as you know, I watch a lot of bodybuilding podcasts. I was watching Flex Lewis's Straight Out of the Lair podcast, which I highly recommend, by the way. And he recently interviewed Branch Warren. I highly recommend you see that podcast if you haven't already. Branch is such a determined individual. He's very focused. And what I forgot is that he sells beef jerky. So I went on his website. So if you guys are in the market for beef jerky, I was looking at the website before going on here too, before my groceries came. So if you want to check it out, highly, highly recommend it, because it sounds like it's and because I'm going to do an order myself, but it's called Wicked Cuts. So if you if you Google it, Wicked is, so it's how you'd normally spell Wicked. So WICKED, but Cuts is CUTZ. So Wicked, WICKED, Cuts, CUTZ. He has different types of beef jerky. He's got beef sticks. He's got some package deals where you can get mix and match of different kinds of things if you want to try different flavors. So it looks really interesting. And Branch is not the type of person who does anything, halfway. He wants to make sure he gives a really good product, really good quality, and really good tasting. Like he's the type of person, if he has high standards, and I really respect him, not just as a bodybuilder, but he works so friggin' hard, not just in the gym. I mean, that goes without saying. If you've ever seen videos of Branch Warren training, you know what I'm talking about. But, he's such a good-hearted, solid person, not just bodybuilder, but person, that any product he would endorse and he's selling, he has in my ears. So, I mean, I'm going to be putting an order in for some beef jerky later and beef sticks. So honestly, check it out. Let me know your thoughts if you do place an order. I'm pretty sure if you're in the USA, I think I saw if it was $50 or more, it's free shipping. And there's so many different products, it's easy to go over $50. I know for sure I will. But I mean, it looks really, really good, his products. So check that out. Alaric. Oh, hey, Dave, how you doing? Is it sugar-free? Alaric, I don't know if it's sugar-free, to be honest. Some of the flavors I don't think are going to be sugar-free because what are they? They have some of the flavors have a sweetened kind of taste with it, but I do know he's got like a pepper. I think it's a black pepper beef jerky, so I would assume that there's no sugar in that. So just look at the ingredients. Depending on what you buy, that there shouldn't. I'm pretty sure there's not going to be sugar in everything, but check which ones have sugar and which ones don't. Now he's out at the turkey. There's a brand. There's the teriyaki. Was it teriyaki or there was another one? So it's not just beef. He does turkey. He does the bacon. Okay, so guys, if you are not in prep, check out the bacon strips he does. Those look really, really good. And I'm sure they have sugar in them too, because they look really good. I saw Flex was eating on the podcast, one of them, and they look so good. But they also have turkey jerky. Hey, that rhymes, turkey jerky. But I think it was sold out. So I'm going to wait a couple of days and see if he gets it back in to do a big order. Because I definitely want not just the beef, but the turkey looks really good too, as well as the sticks. Yeah, beef jerky is really good. The thing is that the beef jerky I've always gotten has been kind of tough. And not to say that that's a bad thing per se, but from what Flex was saying is that it's really chewy, but not chewy to the point where it was like gristly. You know what I mean? And it wasn't tough, like you couldn't tear it apart. Like it seemed like it was very, very tender. So, that would be really good. And like I said, anything that Branch puts his name on, I'm all for it, totally all for it. So anyway, that's my little thing on Wicked Cuts. So I always like to, support fellow bodybuilders. And like I said, he takes pride in doing quality products. And that's what I respect. I don't want just to go with a bodybuilder because they're selling a product because they're a bodybuilder. It's because I know they have high standards and they're not going to back up a product unless they personally believe in it. So he created this, he helped create this and I think there's another guy who brought it to his attention, but they put these flavors and again, how it was, how they prepare it and cook it is really impressive. So anyway, check it out when you guys get a chance for beef jerky. Like I said, it's not just beef. They have turkey, and then the bacon. I really want to get one of those bacon. I'm trying to figure out which bacon I want because there's different flavors. Okay. Do you take pre-workout? Okay, dude, the only reason why I take pre-workout is I'm using up the leftovers I got from the expo. When I went to the expo, they give you all these pre-workouts, so I'm just going through them. But normally I kind of have my own energy, so I don't need a pre-workout. I'm just using it up because it was free. But I don't buy pre-workout. In fact, if anything, I would make my own. And that way I have, total control over the flavors because there's a lot of pre-workouts out there that I don't like the flavor. They have some of them have some, positive ingredients in there. Some of them not so great, but it's really hard to find a pre-workout which legitimately and granted everyone has different personal tastes, but that actually tastes good. So the only ones that I really like is the one I make for myself because I get to choose the flavors of the different products I put into it. So it tastes really good. I'm just currently using up. Now, do you take pre-workout? And if so, what brand and what is your favorite flavor? So maybe I haven't tried it. So it's not that I'm against trying different things. But normally, like I said, once I'm done my pre-workouts, I don't think I'm going to buy. Like I said, I'll just make my own for pre-workouts. But if anything, I really rely more on my intra. So my intra workout is this big mutant. You probably see those, those big mutant red mugs. I think it's 2.6 liters or something. I forget how many gallons that is. But it's really big, this big red jug. And I fill it up with water. I put BCAAs in there. I put EAAs, Himalayan sea salt. That's the main stuff for my intra workout. So But yeah, if you guys have any recommendations, I'm not against trying different pre-workouts. So I just want to use up what I've got right now. Okay, I have tried a few that I like. Total War from Redcon One, and the pre-workout from NutraBio. Oh, not NutraBio. Now, green apple does sound good, though. I will say that green apple is a flavor I like in other things. So I probably now is the green apple. Is Total War okay? Total War from Redcon One, is that in different flavors? Is that the green apple, or is the green apple the NutraBio? Just out of curiosity, or are they both green apple? So, dude, let me know. And by the way, guys, Kevin, Alaric, Dave, if you guys have any ideas for pre-workouts, let me know too. And do you guys even use a pre-workout? Maybe you don't. For the longest time, I never did a pre-workout. The only reason why I actually started taking a pre-workout is because one of my coaches said, this is what I want you to drink before you train. And it was like just putting certain ingredients together. And to this day, I use it. And it's worked for me. But, if it's already pre-mixed for you and if you find a flavor you like, go for it. If it helps, why not? But no, I definitely recommend people drink water during the workout to keep hydrated. I think that's important. All right. Yeah, green apple. I do like the flavor of green apple. And I don't know if you guys saw, there was a podcast. Was it done yesterday? I want to say it was done yesterday. Is today Monday? Yes. So yesterday, RX Muscle. For anyone who follows RX Muscle, Dave Palumbo was on there with Chris Aceto. They talked about a whole bunch of subjects, but one of the things that came up is Dave is going to have some open heart surgery. It's nothing that has to be dealt with right away. He could have it sooner than later. It's not an emergency, but because he wants to cover the Arnolds, he wants to wait to do the surgery after the Arnolds. So that's classic Dave for you. But it is a major procedure, but it is risky. Like anything, this is open heart surgery, so this is really, really, really major. Which means I know he has been through numerous surgeries before, and he hasn't missed shows. This one might be different because open heart surgery is a big deal. So apart from iron therapy, there might be some other shows that we might have to put on hold until Dave feels better. So we'll see how things go. But he has to actually see, I think he has to get some type of test done first before they will give him a date for the open heart surgery. So he's going to keep us updated. So I don't know when that is yet. Like I said, he just announced this yesterday. We can keep him in our thoughts and prayers. But he will keep us posted for sure. So just to kind of put that out there. All right. Alaric. Okay, so we're talking about pre-workouts. I'm not a fan because I get that skin crawling feeling. I don't like. Okay, yeah. Okay, Dave said it was too strong. Okay, you know what? Sometimes, yeah, people have different reactions to certain ingredients, and the beta-alanine can have an effect on certain people. When I do my own pre-workout, I don't use beta-alanine. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying people respond differently. But I'm wondering if you found something that didn't have the beta-alanine in it, how it would work for you. Dave, okay, haven't used a pre-workout in decades. Last one I used was the Ultimate Orange. Yes, Ultimate Orange. Oh, that takes me back. I remember I never took it. Dave, did it actually taste good? I'm just curious. And when you say Ultimate Orange, what comes to my mind, because I've been drinking like the Rain drinks or the Bang, there's a creamsicle by Rain. Does it taste anything like that? Kevin, I used to love Rich Piano's 5%. Oh, 5150 green apple or 50% Kill It Reloaded cherry. Okay. Alaric, you saw the podcast, yeah. MRI NO2 when it first came out, that worked awesome for me. Okay. We can all have our favorites, and honestly, it's a trial and error kind of thing to find out what works better for you. But keep in mind, it's also what's really important is your pre-workout meal. So your pre-workout meal is not your pre-workout drink. Your pre-workout drink will have certain aminos in it. I'll have a whatever kind of, like some people I'll put creatine or glutamine or whatever in it. Your pre-workout meal is something you would eat an hour and a half, sometimes even 2 hours before your training session. So especially if you're training legs tomorrow, for instance, I would recommend at least an hour and a half to maybe even 2 hours of having your meal before you train. Now, your meal isn't going to be huge. It's going to be your protein. Now, you want something that's fairly quick digesting. So you could, have some type of fish if you like fish, a white fish. You could do chicken and a carb that's going to be very fast digesting, such as jasmine or basmati rice. So you can have your chicken and your fish and your rice. That is something that will go into your system. It's easily digestible. You're not going to feel awful when you go into the gym if you're giving yourself at least an hour and a half, especially with fish and rice. That should get digested really quickly. But legs is a very tough workout. So you want to have a bit of you don't want to feel full whatsoever at all, because you'll be throwing up, trust me. So you want to have at least an hour and a half to 2 hours, especially before a big workout like legs, or let's say back. Back is also a big body part too. So some of the other workouts, like let's say if you do shoulders, or then you can probably get away with an hour to an hour and a half beforehand. But again, make sure you have your pre-workout meal to be able to support your body when you go through the workout. Now, that does not mean that if you had carbs the night before at dinner time, you're still not using those carbs in your workout the next day. Of course you are. It's not just carbs that you have before your workout. It's the carbs that you've had before that day, as well as the day before. And that's going to help fuel you so you can actually have some energy and build that muscle. Well, initially it's going to be tearing your muscle tissue in a good way to build muscle, not in an injury way, but to build muscle. And it's going to, because you need the fuel to be able to push yourself through those sets. Okay. So any other questions about, let's say, the coaching, being a coach, being an athlete? If you guys do you have any predictions based on recent pictures? I've been meaning to go on Instagram and seeing what people's pictures are, but I haven't had a chance to. Has anyone seen any recent pictures of any of the guys, of the open guys that are competing at the upcoming Arnold's? I'm just curious what people look like. Now I see Nick Walker at the gym. I think he does different gyms when he's in Vegas, so I don't see him every day, but I see him probably twice a week. And let's just say the dude is big. He's a big guy. And he's bigger than he was at the Olympia. So we shall see. And yeah, he's very conditioned, very, very conditioned. So it's going to be really interesting to see if everyone comes at their best. And we all know not everyone's going to come at their best. I mean, I hope everyone comes at their best. But is Steve Weinberger going to reward size? And if it's size, we've got heavily muscle dense people, let's say like Nick Walker. We've got Sean Clarita. And you can't forget William Bonac. I know a lot of people are like, they've given up on him. But traditionally, William does really good at the Arnold. And I have a feeling he's looking for redemption, especially because the prep didn't go the way it was supposed to. And you cannot roll out William Bonac. So it would be really interesting. Of those three, how are they going to rank? And then you've got the shape. And I'm not saying those are the only guys that are built from a density standpoint and a muscularity. But then you've got the shapelier guys. So with the V taper. So you've got and they still have size. Samson, Dowda. We've got now, for people who've watched the podcast, they know that Andrew Jack has changed coach. He's with Chris Aceto, who's helping him with his diet, and he's training with Chris Psycho Lewis in where's his gym? I want to say California, but I'm not 100% on that. But the few clips I've seen him train, he's being pushed. So The muscle tissue. Now, keep in mind also, Andrew has not been training from a bodybuilding standpoint for very long. I think it's only his second year. So he doesn't have a lot of mature muscle mass, but he is putting on a lot of mass, which he needs. But he's got such a neat shape. And again, I don't know with when they compare them. And again, this is going to come down to conditioning as well. And Chris is always known for bringing, his athletes super conditioned. Who is going to be the overall shapelier, guy from a V-taper standpoint? Now, I'm not ruling out other people. I'm just saying those are the ones that kind of jump out in my mind. Now, if you guys have favorites or think, if you've seen pictures of particular guys, let me know what you've been seeing. All right. So, Dave, from what I remember, it tasted good. Okay. And got you amped up. It was formulated by Dan Duchesne, ephedrine and caffeine in it. Okay. Most drinks will have caffeine in it as far as a pre-workout. The drink that I have, the Rain or the Bang, that has some caffeine in it too. Kevin, I still say Nick Walker for Arnold's. Kevin, who knows? I mean, on paper, this is Nick's show to lose because he came in third. The only people who beat him, are the top two are not competing in the Arnold's. So technically, it looks like on paper that Nick should win. But again, I don't know if, let's say, someone like, as an example, whether it be Samson or Andrew, if they come in with their shape, if they come in super conditioned, I don't know which way Steve Weinberger's going to go. So we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, regardless of what happens, I hope everyone comes at their best. I truly do. I know stuff always happens last minute, always does, to some of the athletes. But I really wish this would be one show that everybody comes in their best. Okay, Dave, the Arnold's going to be crazy good this year. I think more so than previous years. I agree, especially when they increase the money. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I could be wrong. But once they raise the prize money, I think it was $300,000 for first place for Open. I think it is for the winner. If someone can corroborate that for me, but if it is 300,000, my understanding is they can't go down. So now maybe they can. But my understanding is that once they set whatever the prize limit is, they have to do the same or bump it up moving forward. So I don't know if that's going to be the case. It could be. So we'll see. And also, do you guys have any kind of favorite athletes in the other divisions? I'm happy to talk about, if you want to talk about the 212s, if you want to talk about, classic physique, if like any of the women's categories. I mean, if you guys have any favorite athletes, let me know. I'd be interesting to see what you have to say about that or what you guys think. Are you going, Lesley? I hope someone live streams it. You know what? The Olympia ended up costing, and for various reasons, financially, I can't do it. I would love to go. If I had a sponsor who could get me and I would work at their booth or whatever at the expo, I would be there. I would love to go there. But no, I can't. I have to stay, and I'll live stream it too. So I'll just pay for whatever. I didn't check how much the live stream is yet, but if it's not posted, I'm sure it'll be posted soon as far as the live stream. And I'm sure the production value will be really good. So we'll see. I look forward to it. Okay, so my favorite is Lee Priest. Yeah, Lyric. Fair enough for me to watch it on YouTube. You know what? Do you know what, Lyric? I'm hoping, is it August? I want to say August in Romania is the Masters Olympia. If Lee Priest was competing in that. I believe Johnny Jackson has confirmed he's competing in the Masters Olympia. I know it's in Romania. I want to say August, but I'm not 100% on that. But wouldn't it be cool if Lee got in? And you know what? Lee has the genetics, not to say he doesn't train hard, but he has the genetics that he could easily get ready for it. It's in August. He's got lots of time if he wanted to. I think he has a bit of a sweet tooth, so he likes his treats. Don't we all, though? So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Have you seen, actually, Alaric, have you seen any pictures of Lee lately? I mean, he's always showing his amazing biceps. I mean, I don't even know if he trains his biceps. They always look big to me. But I don't know what the rest of him looks like. Do you think he might be training and seeing if he's happy with where he's at, then he'll compete? Or do you think it's just off the table and he's just being in shape? That I don't know. Because again, I haven't had a chance to look at many pictures on social media on the various bodybuilders. But I think that would be cool if Lee did it. And you know, it'd be really cool, Jay Cutler. You know how Jay Cutler is doing this transformation kind of challenge because he's turning. Hey, is Jay Cutler's birthday in August? Okay, go with me here, guys. If Jay Cutler is getting ready to do like his transformation and look in good shape for his birthday, assuming it's in August, and Romania is in August, what do you think? Jay doing the Masters Olympia. He's getting ready. Now, I don't know what you guys think. Wouldn't that be cool? If we saw Johnny Jackson, if we saw Jay Cutler, if we saw Lee Priest, I wonder if Kevin Levrone would do it. I wonder if Chris Cormier would do it. I wonder if Milos would do it. You know what? It would be really cool to see who's going to show up because I saw it. Now, if you guys, again, I watch a lot of bodybuilding podcasts. Do you guys watch Olympia TV? Because, was it Tarek? Tarek just announced that there's some surprises of people that are going to be competing at the Masters Olympia that have not been announced yet that he knows about. So who knows? This is good. That could be very exciting too. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I would love to see Lee on stage again. Of course, I would like to see Jay on stage. I think we would all like to see those two on stage. But geez, if we had a matchup between Jay Cutler and Lee Priest, who would win? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think would win? I'm not even counting anyone else. I'm just saying between those two, Jay Cutler and Lee Priest, who would win? Jeez, that would be tough, man. Huh? Anyway, that'd be fun to see. All right. Sorry, I'm just going la land here. Okay. How goes your training post-comp now that you have recovered? Okay, so my training is pretty good. I'm having left shoulders issues, but I've had this left shoulder issues for years. It got worse leading up to the Olympia. And even though I had a full month off the gym because of the post-Olympia flu, and I didn't train at all, it's still sore. I have trouble sleeping. So I do need to get some work done on it. I could probably use some stem cell stuff on it. So other than that, shoulder raises, I can't do as much as I'd like to just because of my shoulder is kind of messed up. But the rest of the stuff is pretty good. So I'm happy about that. Thanks for asking, Dave. Alaric, okay, agree. He's been my favorite since at least 2005. Yes, he looks great to me. Kevin, he loves his Kit Kats, milkshakes, and you can still pull through. I'm thinking the same. Both Lee and Jay have been bantering each other. I still say Lee Priest. Maybe, you know what? Here's the thing. I think at their level, regardless, I know they've been retired for a while, but their metabolisms are so crazy. They both have great work ethics. If they put their mind to it, especially, you know what? I should egg him on. Do you think I should? I should egg Lee on. And see, I don't know Jay very well, even though I changed over and I'm training at Fit Club now. I don't see Jay just because of my training schedule. And I think he's like traveling all over the place. But if I ever get a chance to Jay, I think, or chance to talk to Jay, I think I might egg him on to dare Lee. And then I can get Lee and dare him about Jay. And they can do this little battle. Wouldn't that be cool? And then see them battle on stage. That would be, I would like that. Not to say, not when I say battle, I'm not talking about in a mean way. I'm just saying as from a bodybuilding standpoint, from their posing and stuff, that would be really cool. Okay. But yeah, Lee could probably eat Kit Kats until like the day before the show. That's how good he is. I didn't know he liked milkshakes, Kevin. That's pretty cool. What's his favorite milkshake? Does he like chocolate? Does he like vanilla, strawberry? What kind of milkshake? Kevin, okay, only Lee will win if he don't upset the IFBB. It's under new management, so I think we're okay now, Kevin. Or yeah, as far as Lee. Agreed, Lee wins hand down, yes. Okay, so all right, so I might have to, you know how people accuse Dave of stirring the pot, initiating trouble? I think I might start doing that too, in a fun way. I'm not trying to be mean, but in a fun way. Try to get Lee and Jay to compete against each other, because then they'll get into it more. You know what I mean? Because it's one thing to say, oh, I'm just doing the Masters Olympia. But then if we kind of make it personal, like a personal challenge, not in a vindictive way, not in a mean way, but in a fun kind of, like when Flex Lewis and Guy Cisternino and Derek Lunsford, like they would joke around too. And they would, as far as when they were competing the 212 together in a fun way, right? But they would try to push each other. That would be really fun to see. Okay, guys, you're getting me to think. This was not even on my radar. I wasn't even trying to. I should call this podcast Lesley causing shit, or about to cause some shit. So only you guys know, or anyone who watches this after the fact. But yeah, I think I might stir the pot and pull a Dave Palumbo and do some stuff behind the scenes and see what happens. So, but again, it's not in a mean way, but in a fun way. Because I would love to see them compete. Really love to see them compete. And it would be interesting. So here's the thing. Let me ask you this, guys. Now obviously this is hypothetical. If I was able to get Lee and Jay to compete in Romania at the Masters Olympia, who would else? And again, they became public and they were posting this on Instagram that they're going, and I'm sure Olympia TV, and it'll be on all the other, and of course, RX Muscle and Desktop Bodybuilding. A lot of channels would cover this. If they became public and they said they were going to do it, how many of the other bodybuilders that have retired do you think would come out of the woodwork? Because I know, and I respect everyone who said that they retired and they're done competing. So I understand that, but it's more of a, it's almost like a reunion of all of them getting on stage and them doing it for fun. Like they're doing it as a competition, of course, but they can egg each other on. And I think that would make it even more fun. But who do you think would come out of the woodwork? So a lot of them, like, let's say, Chris Cormier, he said he's done. Milos has said he's done. Kevin Levrone has said he's done. Dorian Yates has said he's done. But if they know that Lee, and again, this is a hypothetical, if Lee and Jay were going to go at it on the stage, on the Masters Olympia stage, I wonder if any of those would come out of the woodwork and they might chime in. And if they did, who do you think it would be? Now, maybe it's one, maybe it's a bunch of them, but who maybe would be the first one that might say, hey, if Lee and Jay are going to do it, I'm going to try it too. Anyone? Again, this is just pretend. This may never happen. This is just kind of fun to kind of speculate. Stir it up, Dave. Yeah. I think the others would just watch. They might watch Alaric, but you know what? There was a Dennis does this podcast. Dennis, and then I wonder if he would do it. So Dennis James does this podcast on muscle and fitness, and he had Chris Cormier was on there. Who else was on there? Milos was on there. I'm trying to remember who else was on there. It wasn't long ago, and they had Dr. Khan. Dr. Khan does stem cell therapy, and he was telling them that he could help address a lot of their issues through stem cells. And they were joking, oh, does that mean I could get on stage? And he said, yeah, you could. You should have seen Milos's face. Milos is hilarious. He has sworn, I am done competing. I'm not doing this to my body. But when you gave him that little, that we could address certain injuries. We could address certain, whatever. The light in his face, you have to see it. I can't even put it into words. So it's muscle and fitness. If you YouTube it or Google it on YouTube, muscle and fitness, Dennis James podcast. It was with Dr. Khan. Now, Khan is Khan. He also treated Ronnie, by the way, Ronnie Coleman, and Ronnie had a lot of good results. The only thing is that, especially with Ronnie's injuries, he has to go, I think, every couple years, but he's basically pain-free. Now, understand, I forgot the number of surgeries he's had on his back, but he had a lot of surgeries and he was in pain for such a long time. So for Ronnie to say these stem cells made him pain-free, that's a big deal. That's a really, really big deal. I wonder if Ronnie would do the Masters Olympia. Oh, could you imagine? Oh gosh, guys. To see Ronnie Coleman on stage again. Oh my gosh. With Jay. Another rematch between Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler. Would that not be friggin' amazing? I'm just saying. I might stir the pot. We'll see. It's in August, so I got to stir pretty fast. But yes, so, and the thing is, I don't know enough people to get to talk to certain individuals. Like I know who Ronnie Coleman is, but I've never spoken to him before. So, but yeah, I got to start with Lee and Jay, but maybe I'll put the little bug in Jay's ear about Ronnie Coleman because he could make that happen. I know Jay could poke, mentally poke and get Ronnie to consider it, especially because we all know Ronnie still trains. It's not like he's sitting at home eating donuts and watching Oprah. Okay. He does train still really hard, and obviously not the same that he was doing before. And the stem cells are helping him repair and not be in pain. Just saying. Just putting it out there. So, yes, this is the Stirring the Pot episode. So this is our secret because no one else, unless they watch it after the fact, will know what I'm talking about. So you guys are part of my private group of knowing the little secret of what I'm going to be doing try to do behind the scenes. So we'll see. And that's just going to be interesting. So yeah, can you guys think of anyone else that might join in, even if it's, I don't know, do you think John? I don't even know who else would pop in there. And would Ronnie do it? I don't know. Ronnie and Jay, can you imagine that live stream would blow every live stream up that has ever happened? That would probably be the most popular to see Jay and Ronnie go at it again with Lee Priest. That would be friggin' amazing. Amazing. Just saying. Okay. All right. So getting back to reality, do you guys have any other questions about or topics that you guys want to cover before I wrap up for today? Just going to wait for the chat. Okay. If not, Dave and I are supposed to be taping Iron Therapy, I believe on Thursday. When he releases it, I'm not sure, but I think it might be on the weekend. But so we should have another Iron Therapy episode going up toward the end of the week or on the weekend. And then, of course, I will be back here on the live at 5 p.m. Vegas time or 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you guys have any ideas for topics that you want me to cover, either with Dave this week or maybe another week or in the live next week, just put it in the comments below. Or if you feel more comfortable, just send it to me on my Instagram. Just send me a DM. So my Instagram handle is Lesley_mental_iron. It should be in the description below. So I want to wish you guys a great rest of your day. Feel free to stir the pot in a good, healthy way, fun way. And remember to keep your mental game on. Take care, guys. Bye for now.